Hello, everyone, and welcome to the inaugural episode of the Great Movie Pod. I am Noah Ryan, and this is my uncle.
I'm Caleb Schultz.
And we are two guys who text late into the evening about movies and decided that we should talk about it on camera for the world to see.
I mean, you figure, why not? Like, we've collectively seen more movies probably than 99% of the world.
Yeah. Where I'm at for my age, people always ask me what movies to watch, and I'm like, oh, here's 5, and they're like, I've never even heard of these. And then I go to my uncle and I'm like, hey, I need a movie, and he'll give me 5 movies, and I'll be like, I've never even heard of these. So yeah. So thanks for doing this with me. This is cool. I'm excited.
I'm really excited about it. This is like, instead of just like like you said, having to text back and forth, and we can actually like have a better conversation than texting, and then on top of that, just give our insights into people that like are also big movie freaks. And
Yeah, this is going to be a podcast for people that know nothing about movies, for people that know a lot about movies. It's going to be a whole bunch of the spectrum, because we both have various amounts of experience, A, watching movies, and B, with you making movies, writing movies. So it's going to be really cool. I'm excited.
Yeah. And I'm looking forward to, like, not just, obviously we're going to like touch on, current movies and what's in theaters, and we're also going to talk about like the different franchises, and we'll do a lot of like different top 10s and top 5s, and we'll talk about genres specifically, and then we'll dive even deeper into the genre. So it isn't like best drama. It's like, well, okay, there's a zillion different dramas. You'd have to talk about different sports films and different, and then if you talk about different thrillers, then you can talk about, okay, well, is a thriller, like, is it like a detective thing, or is it about like a serial killer movie? Or so there's endless amounts of like interesting stuff,
endless pods, endless episodes. So we're excited to do this. We decided that we're going to kick off every episode with a what I just watched section.
Yes.
Doesn't have to do with the theme of the episode. I mean, it might. It depends. Sometimes we'll be doing research for a pod we want to do, so that last film or TV project might be something that fits that genre, but a lot of times it will not. And so, yeah, I don't know if you want to start it off and tell me and tell the cool folks what you just watched recently.
Yeah. Well, so it's a little odd. This isn't necessarily something I'd watch all the time, but like, I recently had my youngest nephew hanging with me for I don't remember what it was, 3-4 days. And part of my tradition in the evening is to like break out some movies he's never seen and eat lots of great food. So it's a great tradition that I've had with everybody. And so this last time we watched, it was from 1984 or 85, The Ewok Adventure.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's a film that came right during the Star Wars heyday, as I like to think of it. And for those that haven't seen it, I believe it was made for TV, and Lucas was like the producer on it. And so it's like stop motion animation with the monsters, and so, but the movie takes place on Endor, and they have these great adventures, and there's like the original, and actually the guy who played Wicket in Return of the Jedi, he plays the same character, and there's actually 2 of the movies. There's the Ewok Adventure, and then there's I think it's called Ewok Battle for Endor.
Oh, for Endor. Yeah. Yeah.
Has my favorite character in the entire Star Wars universe, his name is Teek.
Teek, yes.
Yeah. So that's what I was watching, and Levi, who that's my nephew, he's a Star Wars freak, and he loves all of it. And so, but he grew up on all the more modern stuff, and so for him to watch like the stop motion animation and all that kind of stuff, but he absolutely loved it, which was the goal, So I watched those 2 movies with him, and then so I'll just leave it at that for now. So so what have you been watching?
So last night I was in the mood for a vintage film. So I had come across on my Instagram feed, I follow Turner Classic Movies, their Instagram channel, and they had posted a clip of Humphrey Bogart from a movie that I had never seen, and he's in so many movies. But
he made probably 100 movies or something.
Yeah, something crazy like that. And So I was like, what on earth? Yeah, he to be specific, he made 93 films.
Oh, I was
I
close.
just looked it up. You're very close. But I fell into a movie from 1950 called In a Lonely Place, and um, it stars Humphrey Bogart and Gloria Graham, and a lot of people may not know the name, but she plays Violet in It's a Wonderful Life,
Oh,
and
okay. Yeah.
she also plays. I don't remember the name of the character, but in Oklahoma, the movie musical, she's just the I'm just a girl who can't say no. Like that's her. So she's great. But usually she's got like a very high pitched kind of like I don't know weird kind of sounding voice. But she played like a straight character, so it was very just like more normal female archetype in the movie, and she was the love interest of Bogart. The film was very interesting because Bogart played a hot-headed film writer. He was a script writer, and a girl who is helping him with his next script gets murdered. And because of his hot headedness, he is framed for, or not framed, but he is thought to be the murderer. And then his neighbor clears him of the murder and they fall in love, but then she suspects that he's actually the murderer. And so it's this whole like back and forth thriller of like, is he actually the guy that killed this woman? Who actually killed this woman? And it's like it builds up until the very last moment, and it was really well done. Obviously it's in black and white, but just the tension of the music. Old movies have a very like there's thrillers now, but I feel like thrillers back in the day they're solely reliant on good acting and music. And now it's a lot of camera angles because they've
Yeah.
got more crafty and it's a lot of sometimes
Quick
silence.
edits, like the
Yes.
zooms or the whatever.
Yes. But back then, like to have a really good
They had to
thriller,
work
you
harder at it.
had to build it and you
Yeah.
had to, and this is some of the best acting. I think it goes, I don't think people talk about it for Bogart. Like Casablanca and Maltese Falcon and a couple of the others that are like big Humphrey Bogart movies. But this movie, he was so good. There's a scene where he just snaps and he goes from being super super angry to being like out of it and you're like whoa, like the transformation without like any cuts, like he just like walks into a room and he was just angry, he walks through the door frame and that just dissipates on his face and it was so good. So I watched that. I liked that a lot. That was really good. That was last night. I love a good black and white movie every now and
Well, it's funny. It's funny you mentioned that because I don't know how it got in my feed, but just yesterday, one of Bogart's films like popped up in my feed. I don't know if it's one of those things where your phone is listening to you and like it starts to like, give you recommendations for, like, for things that you've been looking at. But it was like all of a sudden there was like some weird thing in my feed about the what was it called? The Treasure of Sierra Madre with Bogart.
yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So it was just
Okay.
just yesterday, and I haven't thought about him in forever.
Yeah. And to plug where I watched it, just so folks, if you want to find it at home, that movie is on Tubi. It is a streaming service that is free. There's a bunch of ads on it, which do get somewhat annoying, but they have a really extensive catalog of both newer movies, but very old movies. They have hundreds and hundreds of black and white films. So Tubi for vintage movies is a really good find.
I feel like the well, it's an app now or a platform or whatever we want to call it, but I think Crackle was like that for a little while,
Crackle, yes,
and
Crackle
then it
was like
kind of
that.
changed a bit, and I
Hmm.
I haven't followed what it is now, but yeah, for a while it was
Yeah.
like they had all kinds of options, and they had just a couple commercial breaks, and it wasn't so bad. Now I don't know what it's turned into, but yeah,
Yes, it's very similar, very similar.
okay.
So now we have come to our theme. I'm excited about this. Our first episode, with this being the summer of Super, specifically being Superman, and then there was a Fantastic Four movie that came out. We thought a good first episode topic would be greatest superhero movies of all time. Now we've got,
Superhero movies or superheroes?
well,
Because that can be different. Because they can
it
have a
can be.
that can be like a great acting role as a superhero, and the movie itself is maybe less than say a different movie where I don't know. We'll
Well,
play with that as we
we
go.
can play with that as we
Yeah.
go. We can highlight that. But superheroes in movies.
Okay.
That's yeah. Um, so we've got some best of lists, we've got some honorable mentions, and we've got maybe some worst of. So yeah, I don't know if we want to do some honorable mentions or just talk about your feelings on the genre as a whole. That'd be cool too.
Yeah, I think so. When I was thinking about this in preparation, the one of the first things I sort of had to do was I had to like to be in a superhero movie, it has to be based on a comic book. That sort of was like my defining what a superhero. Because like, I mean, you could call Luke Skywalker a superhero, but like, yeah, but like superhero seems to be like a definition of like more of the comic book. Like they had to generate there somewhere at some point. And so is that sort of what you were thinking about with how you kind of went at your list or whatever?
Yes, uh, I also looked at it. It's mostly based on comics. All of the movies I have on my list are comic based, but they're not. It doesn't mean that they are like they are all your Batmans and your Supermans. I have some
Right.
more
Yeah.
more obscure ones that are still comic book based.
Yeah. And I even extended out to those that are based on like graphic novels.
Graphic novels.
Yeah.
Sure. Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. So I don't know if you want to throw out some honorable mentions before we get into some best of.
Yeah, I would actually. Yeah. So I kind of I really took a really deep dive into this and but just because it was so much fun. But I want to give, even though I don't want to besmirch the actor, but I really enjoyed, and it is based on a comic book, so it counts. But the original Hellboy movie,
Okay. Yeah.
what's the guy's name that?
Ron Perlman?
Yeah. So he is what he is off camera. I get that everyone is sort of like they're actors. There's acting. That's fine, and they have their own stuff on the side, and that's fine too. But I felt like in that film, like he really encompassed the character just so perfectly, and the fact that the creature shop that was building the creatures and the prosthetics and the CGI and everything just really blended well together. And so yeah, so he's that. So that he and that movie are definitely on like the next list down of like I wish and then they did two films. I wish they hadn't changed it up. I wish they would have done like a third or whatever. But
Yeah.
in fact, I'm not exactly sure how that happened because it's sort of like it just all the characters blended so well together, and then all of a sudden they just recast the whole thing, which was a little odd to me.
I think maybe Guillermo del Toro just wanted to do other movies and just was not interested in doing a third movie. And then the people that love those movies were like, we need more. And so they made one.
Yeah, yeah, that could be. It could be just as simple as that. Another one I would mention and again, some of these are like I enjoy the movies and the characters. This one is it's sort of on the fringe if it's a superhero or not. But in the movie Constantine, where Keanu Reeves plays like he's like an exorcist, but he can also like view the like this other realm and
That's 100% a comic book movie.
yeah, yeah, and it was based on it, yeah. And so I don't know if he's a superhero, but it's certainly
Yeah, sure. Sure.
and actually, as far as I had looked up, I think they're making a sequel to that finally.
Okay. Interesting.
And just like a weird little bit of trivia, a friend of mine worked on that film.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, he was a caterer on the set, and so every day he got to like make lunch and dinner for Keanu. And so that's sort of one of the things that I got to like know a little bit about Keanu from like a personal perspective. I've never met him, but like it was cool to like hear the stories about. Apparently, he's just such a fantastic person to everybody that he's around. So all the rumors on the internet, it does seem to be pretty true.
I believe it. That's
Yep.
awesome. That's awesome. I'll throw out a couple honorable mentions that I have. I have a bunch, but I'll throw out two since you threw out two, and then maybe we can talk about some more. But I have The Watchmen on there. That's Zack Snyder's big first foray into the DC world. I love that movie. I think for the average movie viewer, it is entirely too long and too
Mhm.
too edgy and not And Zack Snyder is like that in general. I feel like you have to like Zack Snyder's movies to like his movies. I mean,
Yeah, he's very
there's
stylish.
and Guillermo del Toro, I think, is kind of very similar too. There's if you don't like his style, you're not gonna like his movies. There's some directors I feel like have like such a style that like if you don't like it, you won't like anything they make. But there are other directors like Tarantino has a style, but I think there are Tarantino films that everyone can like, or you can watch a Tarantino movie and be like, I like that one. I don't like this one. Like
Right.
I know someone who loves Reservoir Dogs, but they don't like any other Tarantino movie. It's like so like but I giving back to Watchmen. Watchmen I think is so stylized and so long that it's not for everyone, but I really enjoyed it. I think it's a really good character study of the characters that it's based on. It's really good with origins and also with not telling or like it's not an origin story, but they highlight the origins of certain characters and they I like that Watchmen just kind of throws you into a story with superheroes in a world where superheroes already exist and they've been existing doing missions and it's not because you look at a lot of superhero movies and I would say 70% is let's see how this guy became this guy.
Right. Yeah.
And in that movie there are some of that, but the main focus of the movie is that these characters already exist and what happens in this world that they already exist in. And I like that because he was one of the first people in the more modern era of superheroes to do that. A lot of other superheroes is like, okay, we're getting an origin story of this person. We're getting an origin story of this person. All right, we're rebooting the first one. And
Right.
it's another
Yeah.
origin story. So The Watchmen, I really love, and it's got a lot of amazing character actors. It doesn't just have your typical Chris Evans and your Mark Ruffalo's. Like it's got just like the guys that you're like, oh, I know that guy from that thing, but I don't know what their name is.
Right.
Like,
Well,
and I love that.
and I think that was probably one of the reasons that it wasn't commercially as successful, if I remember right, because not
Like
just the length was a problem, but also they took a chance on having a lot of character actors do the main roles, in which case it is harder to get like people to go see a movie if it's a lot of people you haven't really heard of.
like for instance, Jackie Earl Haley. That
Right. Yeah.
guy
Yeah.
is one of the main characters, and is the side character in every movie you've ever loved. Like he's the goofy looking dude in every movie you've ever been like, who's that goofy looking guy? It's Jackie, and then so he's a main character. So it is hard to get people to, like you said, get around those movies because they don't have the big star attached to them. And then a second honorable mention I had was Spider-Man 1, Sam Raimi,
With
with Tobey Maguire.
yeah, I think that gets a little bit of a bad rap.
I think it does too. I think the third one in that franchise is so bad that people are like they write off the whole thing. But Spider-Man to me just like it like that first movie was one of the first superhero movies I watched as a kid. And so like I have nostalgia associated with it, but also like Tobey Maguire plays a great Spider-Man and Willem Dafoe as the Green Goblin is just so good. And it comes right off the page. If you've ever read a Spider-Man comic, like it really reads Green
And don't forget
Goblin.
Kirsten Dunst.
And yeah, Kirsten Dunst, like
That
it's
was like prime Kirsten right there.
yeah, yeah. And for my money, that Spider-Man franchise has the best Aunt May. She is like the most perfect. Like I don't know,
Yeah.
whenever she gives Peter advice, you're like, I believe this advice. You've lived this life. Like you know, like
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, like I liked the who's the one in the recent ones. The what's her name?
Marissa Tomei.
Yeah, Marissa Tomei is. I mean, she fills the role, but they kind of tweaked it to sort of like I don't know exactly why they felt they needed to tweak that. They had enough names and everything in the movies,
Yeah.
but
Oh,
maybe they're.
J.K. Simmons as J. Jonah Jameson is
Oh yeah.
so good that they brought him back into the actual, like, he's just the same character. They brought him back to the MCU as himself because, like, you can't recast that role. Like, get me pictures of Spider-Man. Like, that's just so good. Like, it's so good. It's brilliant. It's brilliant. I just, yeah. And then a young James Franco, not that he's old now, but he's older. And
Yeah.
Yeah. So those are
That was
two honorable
basically before
mentions.
he got blacklisted, essentially.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're not going to get into that because I don't really
No.
know all the details, and it's sort of like one of those stories that kind of popped up, and I'm like, yeah, whatever your deal is in your personal life, apparently, like,
Apparently you were not good and people
yeah.
moved on, so I will move on as well. Yeah. All right, cool. Do you have any other honorable mentions that you want to
Uh,
throw out?
let's see. I guess I'll throw this out as an honorable mention only because I have like honorable mentions for the acting and stuff like later, but like this is sort of again, I picked a couple that were sort of like on the fringe of like what we'd consider a superhero kind of a thing. And this was, I believe, it was based on a graphic novel, but the movie V for Vendetta
Yes.
with Hugo Weaving.
Yes. I actually have that on my list.
Okay,
Yeah, yeah,
is
yeah.
it
So
on
we
your?
can talk
Is it a top five somewhere?
yeah,
Or
yeah, yeah.
oh, okay,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah.
I could
So
totally put it
this
on.
is a good intro. We can go right into
Yeah, okay.
the tops. Yeah.
Okay. So for me, what was great about him was that it was like, for people who don't know, it's set in sort of a dystopian future in London where Hugo Weaving plays a vigilante anarchist who is basically trying to take down the government per se, and or start a revolution, or you could call him a freedom fighter, whatever you want to call him. And it also stars Natalie Portman and a number of other character actors that are great. And what I really loved about his character, I mean, the movie itself is fantastic. It is just the music is great, its directing is great, the mood lighting is really perfect for a dystopian film, and Natalie Porter, I think, is one of her best roles actually. And but what's great about Hugo is that so his character, and I'm not going to spoil no spoilers, but he wears a mask throughout 99% of the film, and with in like a straight mask, like you cannot see any expression, and his ability to express himself verbally, to get his points across, to express anger and joy and sorrow, and his ability to like just relay words in a way that is just stunningly good. So
Yeah. Yeah.
no, you go. Yeah, go
And
ahead.
because of that, it is on my list of best superhero movies.
Okay.
Because although it might not be, your Batman, your Superman, your your whatever, it is a superhero for that world, for uh that time. It's very dystopian, very like, but also if you watch it, it's very not far off from some countries in the world right now, and so you watch it as a cautionary tale
I mean,
sometimes.
yeah, I mean, heck, you just heard about the big news about them arresting the this Irish or British, whatever it was, comedy writer, and they had like five cops waiting for him at the airport. And it's like it's a film. Technically it's a make believe film, but it has so many parallels to what happens in the world.
Yeah, and just to highlight it from a movie side, it's written, and I didn't know this until I was doing research for some reason. I don't know why I didn't put it together, because the director of the movie, James McTeague, worked on the Matrix movies, but it's written by the Wachowskis,
Well, yeah, yeah, yeah. Actually, I think that's kind of how I came across
and
it
that
years
makes
ago. Yeah.
so much sense because it's very Matrix coded.
Hmm.
It's obviously not the same thing, but like it's very, you can see how the people that wrote that also wrote The
Right,
Matrix.
because some of the monologues that are in Vendetta are very similar to some of the monologues that, like,
Yes.
say they like that the architect has, or that Lawrence Fishburne's character has, or whatever. Like, yeah, yeah, you're right. Like that, they they have a distinct way that they write that you can, when you know it, you can see it. Yeah.
Yes. And I really like that in that movie the main character has a mask. And I know you just talked about that, but to me, by mask, it's a superhero movie. There's a lot of superheroes with masks, but I
Well, right.
mean like a mask that does not come off. You don't
Yeah,
see
all these other ones, like, they're wearing masks,
like
but they're
like I
see they're
know like
yeah.
Spider-Man wears a mask, but at most probably 50% of the movie, Tobey Maguire's face is visible.
Yeah.
And
Well, it's
I
same as
think
like the Batman movies or whatever. Like,
yeah,
it's
yeah,
part of them.
you know who Batman is. You know who the alter ego is. For Vendetta, for V, you don't know who that guy is. You don't know his story. Like eventually they do kind of piece together like what has happened to this dude. over time, how he has become how he is, why he looks the way he looks. But the mask is just so, it adds a level of mystery to both the character and the movie.
Hmm.
And it just, I don't know, it throws something mystical onto the movie that would already be a good movie. But I think if that dude didn't have a mask and he was just a dude doing what he do, like that's cool, but part of the of the character is that he's masked up all the time. That
Yeah,
you don't know anything about him, that he's just like this phantom. And I really like that. I love that a lot. The Guy Fawkes mask is just
yeah,
so cool. It's creepy.
yeah. Yeah, well,
And I don't know if there's any, you're a little bit older than me, so the hacker group Anonymous, were they wearing the Guy Fawkes mask well before that movie? So I wonder if there's some correlation between the movie Vendetta and the Anonymous people
well,
and the Guy Fawkes mask.
if my memory is serving, and if someone wants to comment underneath and correct us, that's helpful. It's great. But I think it came out, and then that was sort of the impetus for, or the inspiration for the hacker group to then show themselves in that mask, because it was like the movie wasn't a giant success. I don't know what its budget was, so maybe it was a success for a smaller budget for whatever. But
Let me look
like,
it up.
yeah, those that like, and those that like the Wachowski brothers and all that kind of stuff, like, it was kind of in the day where like everyone was still like using IMDb to find movies and say, so and so's writing this, when's it coming out? And then it's like, well, I'll go see it, and it might not be a giant commercial success, but it'll be successful enough.
So its budget was estimated at 54 million, and in America and Canada it grossed about 70 million and 134 million worldwide. So like it did
Yep.
okay.
Well, what's crazy is that these studios are always trying to look, and I know this is like a little bit of an aside, but these studios are constantly trying to find another billion-dollar movie.
Mhm.
And if a movie's made for 54 million and it makes 130 something or whatever million, I mean, technically you're almost tripling your budget, and they will consider that not a success. And then like, so there's lots of movies that like, you're like, why isn't there a sequel to that? And then you look at the numbers, you're like, well, technically it was
It made
a
money.
success. It just
Yeah.
wasn't. Yeah, okay, yeah, maybe it's not going to rewrite all the records, but studios, I think if they're going to succeed going forward in and compete against these like zillion different platforms, they're going to have to be okay with creating a movie for 50 million or 75 million and it making 150 million. That's still good. It's
Yes.
just if you're gonna, and you also build up a fan base. So this Vendetta didn't need a sequel. It was kind of perfect as a standalone movie. But there are certain movies that you get the characters and it's so great, and you're like, you could have a couple of movies off of that. And it's a lot of the studios just really are, it's like the TV shows that cancel after 3 seasons when all you need is like 2 more seasons to like complete the story arc.
Yes.
But anyway, that's an aside.
Yes. Yeah. Well, so that's why Vias for Vendetta is so high on my list, and I consider it one of and it has and probably because they probably use similar uh choreography, it has some of the coolest fight scenes
It really
in
does, yeah.
in not just superhero movies, but I think in film. There's some really cool scenes with knives and swords that just
Hmm.
like, whoa, that's
Yeah,
really fun to watch. That's really cool. Yeah, I'm a big old rounded, like, not just when things go boom. I like,
yeah.
like
So is that your number five for
yeah,
your
that's my number 5 for my
okay.
list. Yeah, what you
So
got? What do you have?
like we had discussed a little bit, I kind of went with characters more than the movies, but the movies are still good though too. So these other two, so I have two that are tied for number five.
Okay.
I couldn't decide which one I wanted, and so I just went with both the movies and the actors. So so surprisingly to me, actually, tied for number five was the I don't know what year it was, but the first, not the first in the 60s or whatever, but like in the modern era, Wonder Woman
Okay.
with
Okay.
Gal Gadot, or is it Gail or Gal Gadot?
Gail Gutto, I think.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I just one the reason I had that on my list, one, I wanted to throw a woman in there because like, there's some really, really great guy actors that are on the list. And so I thought she really epitomized it, and I really liked that it was a period piece. So you got to see it was World War One, right? If I
Yes,
remember right.
World War One.
Yeah. And so you got to see the World War One stuff, all the character actors that went with it. I mean, obviously Chris Pine was in it, and he's not a character actor, but he really he really did a great job of like, and this is just talking about the movie in general. He did a great job of sort of like, because obviously he's big in some other movies like the Star Trek movies and such, but like he was able to kind of like pull back. Hey, I'm Chris Pine, to sort of like I'm a secondary actor to this other person who's like the badass.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
she was legit. She was great in the action scenes. You know, when she had to wear the stuff in like downtown London, I mean, she looked amazing. Not just like the looks, but like her look hauling around a sword and a shield and doing those things. I just
Yeah.
thought it was a really well-rounded film.
They had talking about character actors. They had David Thewlis as the main villain.
He's so good. He's so
Uh,
good.
and then secondary villain. We could do. I think we should, just because I don't think anyone else will care about this as much as we do. But I think we should do an episode where we just rank our top 10 or top 5 Danny Houston movies, because he's in that movie too. And newsflash, he's also a bad guy in that movie. But like, there's a whole joke, and I think I'm not the only person, or you are not the only person. It must be common knowledge, because in the new Naked Gun movie with Liam Neeson, he's also the bad guy, and they
Oh, I
make
didn't know
him,
that. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, and they make him so out, like it's obvious, like from the beginning he's the villain, and you're like, yes, they're making fun of the fact that he's the villain and everything. Like, and there's so many movies too. This is an aside. It has nothing to do with superheroes, but it has to do with your movie, so I'm bringing it up. But Danny is so funny because he'll be in a movie where they build him up as the good guy, and I know there's going to be a twist at the end where he's the bad guy just because of who he is.
Yep.
And so it never surprises me when he ends up being the bad guy. But he's in that movie too, and so yeah, that's a good pick. I didn't even remember that one. That was
Yeah.
good. That's good.
So that one was tied with which one of my favorite. I don't really do, like I don't do favorite films really anymore, because once you've seen a zillion films, it's impossible to sort of like have a favorite. But so tied for number 5 is Brandon Lee and The Crow. So that came out when I was in college, and it was like super influential with, you know, film and writing, and a lot of people don't know, while the actor Brandon Lee is actually Bruce Lee's son, and he had done a couple of films, and he did this film, and it was like everyone was saying it was going to launch his career and it's going to be so good, like the people that saw the movie ahead of time. And then he was actually killed while filming that. It was like the last scene that they shot, he was actually shot on set. And
And
so
not
anyway,
by
we never
Alec
got.
Baldwin.
Yeah. But anyway, what's so great about the film? He is great in it, and he plays sort of like an esoteric, you know, mysterious character that come. I'm not spoiling anything. He comes back from the dead to avenge the death of his wife, and it is just so like atmospheric, and the soundtrack is maybe one of the best soundtracks of all time. I mean, they have new music from like The Cure and Stone Temple Pilots and all these amazing groups at the time all put out original like music for this film.
Yeah.
And it's almost like a black and white film. It's like raining the entire film. There's actually a lot of character actors that you'd recognize from stuff. Like there's one of the ladies in The Crow also has like a recognizable part in Unforgiven. You know, there's a Ernie Hudson, who was in the Ghostbusters, was in that. So there's like a lot of like character actors that are.
Tony Todd.
Tony Todd, yeah. So anyway, I think it's a fantastic film, and
Rest in peace.
what's that?
Rest in peace to Tony Todd, by the way. Passed away
Yeah,
last year.
yeah, for sure. So what do you have at unless you want to talk about The Crow a little bit more, you can move to number 4.
The only thing I have to say on The Crow is that the remake is terrible and no one should watch it.
Yeah, you know, they made a sequel a couple years after The Crow, and like it was weird because it was like everyone recognized that it was a fine sequel, but everyone at the same time was like, you shouldn't have made a sequel because the lead actor who was the guy died. And so it
Right.
was like, you know, whoever, I can't remember who the guy was who played the Crow. It's like Crow Salvation or something like that. But it could have like this guy could be like the greatest actor since whatever, but like because the fans of the original movie were like, no, we're not going to see this.
Eric Melvis.
Okay. And he's probably doing Hallmark movies now.
Actually, yes. Yes, if you go to his IMDb page, the first thing on there is a trailer for his newest Hallmark Christmas movie.
Yeah.
That's funny. But also shout out Kirsten Dunst, who's in that movie.
Yeah, yeah, she's very young in that movie. That's right.
Kristen Dunst is in a lot of original. But yeah, don't go see. Don't spend any money on the new
No,
one. It's
go pick
terrible.
up the original or stream it or however you can find
I
it.
will say, for a while, and I don't know why they moved through with this, but for a while they were going to do a new Crow movie with Jason Momoa, and that would have been really cool. But they scrapped it, and then they just rushed one with Bill Skarsgård, and that's so strange. The trailer
Yeah,
sucked. The movie sucked.
not that it's as good as a Casablanca or whatever, like, although I'd argue it's better. But there are just certain films you don't need to, maybe we'll talk about this in a different pod, or I'll just keep bringing it up as a broken record. But like, there are so many amazing writers or people with ideas for film that you don't need. You can create more of a franchise if you want or whatever, but like, there's no reason to remake most films. Like, you can make an argument for remaking. Yeah, or like there's some movies from the 70s and 80s, like early fantasy and sci-fi, that like the idea was fine, but the CGI and all just, they didn't have it to make the
Yeah.
film like the way it should be.
Perfect example. The original Journey to the Center of the Earth is good. It's a fine film. And then they remade it with, why am I blanking on his name? He just had a huge comeback. America loves him. He played George of the Jungle.
Yeah. George. No, not George.
Brendan Fraser.
Brendan Fraser. Yeah.
Brendan Fraser. Yeah. They remade Journey to the Center of the Earth in the early to mid 2000s with Brendan Fraser.
Yeah.
And it's awesome because they have the CGI that they can use then for that.
Yes. I saw that when I was living in South America.
Yeah, that's a fun one. It's like not like, it's nothing record setting or it's not going to be,
fun.
but that's the kind of movie you can remake, because there are some movies that, they don't have the CGI, or they don't have the special effects, or like they did it recently and it failed. It sucked. It was terrible. But Dr. Dolittle, there's something you can do with that. Personally, I would argue that HBO should make it a TV show of some sort. I think Dr. Dolittle would be a really cool TV show. Anyways, that's neither here nor there. But
that was actually one of my favorite book series growing up. So, and they made a version of that in, like, I want to say sometime in the 60s with Rex Harrison.
Yeah.
Was it Audrey Hepburn, maybe?
No, you're thinking of My Fair Lady with the two of them, but I don't know.
Yeah. But I think Rex Harrison played Dr. Dolittle in that film. But anyway, when they said they were going to do a new one, I was like, oh, great. And then they did one with, didn't they do an Eddie Murphy version?
Eddie Murphy has two. They have two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But basically, it's one of the funnest, like, books for kids, and they've just
the woman is Samantha Eggar.
Eggar, that's right. Okay.
Yes.
I was mixing up the two Rex Harrison movies, but yeah, they basically butchered it, and it's like, well, I'm sure, like, Robert Downey Jr.'s amazing in a lot of films, and he probably came in and was like, oh, I want to do, my take on it is that, like, he's a schizo, and he's just completely mad and the whole thing, and he's like slovenly, and it's like, it just does not work. And it's like, sometimes you don't need to put a completely new spin on a character that an author spent decades like building up.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of them want to change it just so they have their own, like, so I don't know. But anyway, it did not work, and hopefully one of these days someone gets it right. But I don't know. I'm not going to hold my breath.
So they did, let's see here. 2001 is Dr. Dolittle. Yeah, they did the Eddie Murphy Dr. Dolittle movies. There's one from 98. There's one from 2001. And those both have Eddie Murphy. Then there is 1, 2, 3 spin-offs that are Dr. Dolittle's daughter from that Eddie Murphy movie that they did. So apparently kids growing up at that time really liked that. So
yeah,
that's cool. But that's another franchise that you could reboot. There's some franchises that, like, or not franchises, but movie stories that, like, you can reboot because there's some that just stop. Stop.
Yeah, it's done. Yeah.
Yeah. But my number 4, we super roundabout talked about a lot of things. But that's the other thing with this podcast. It's not, there's no script. It's not scripted. It's not, we've got notes. We've got IMDb to look stuff up. We're going to take some time. We're going to pause. But, like, I'm not going to do a bunch of editing with this. I'm going to edit out if there's sections where we're like, all right, we sounded really dumb. Like, we got to edit that. But we will just talk, and sometimes we'll get off track. And that's typically what happens when we're talking movies off camera. But anyways, yeah, my number 4, and you might disagree with this, but I love this movie. Maybe you won't, but I have from 2022, The Batman, with Robert Pattinson, Colin Farrell, and Paul Dano. Matt Reeves is, in my opinion, one of the greatest directors working right now, and definitely one of the best writers. I know his work on the Planet of the Apes movies was insane. He cooked. And if you look at his filmography, it's like the Planet of the Apes movies and the Batman and like maybe one other movie. And like he's done nothing but good things. And every time he makes
I
something,
guess the Apes movies they're turning this most recent one that's the first of a trilogy, I guess now.
yes, which is nuts. So he made 3 movies that are so good they made 3 more movies. They're making 3 more movies. Like that's how good. That doesn't happen in this day and age. Like
Right.
that's
Yeah.
not. And yeah. So I really loved. So not only to me is it the greatest like Batman script. I think the script was great. Like all the characters, when they had things to say, they were supposed to say them. It didn't feel corny, it didn't feel out of place. The story was really well written. It felt grounded, it felt real, but not like the Christopher Nolan movies. To me, they were like, we need to make Batman real. Like you could wake up tomorrow and see Batman in your front yard. But like Matt Reeves honored the fact that it's a freaking comic book. And like you still felt that this was Gotham, this was Batman, this is not the United States. I don't have to feel like I'm in New York City, but you still feel the element of realism that you're like on your edge of your seat. You don't know what's going to happen. Riddler's killing people and you got to figure out who this guy is before he kills again.
Right.
It was this, for the first time ever in the comic books, Batman is a detective. They call him the greatest detective. They have not had a Batman movie where he is a detective. They've had a Batman movie. Most iterations of the Batman is he's this rich playboy that just buys a bunch of gadgets and learns kung fu from a mystical guy in the mountains. And that's like, okay, like whatever. But like this Batman, again, highlights it's not an origin story, which is amazing. I love that. It gets points for me for not being an origin story. I don't care that your parents are dead. Like it sounds terrible, but like in every Batman movie, boom, his parents are dead. Boom, his parents are dead. We know this. We know this. And they start him out. He's already been Batman for a couple years. I think he's 5-10 years in at this point being Batman, and he already has a relationship with Gordon. Gordon's not the commissioner. Like he starts off as a regular cop. Like there's just so many meticulous details that Matt Reeves put into that script. It's a longer movie, so I don't feel like it's a bang 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 and it's over. It's like very drawn out. It's very grungy. The music is it's got dark tones. It draws a lot from the grunge music of the 90s, and I love it. Like even the Batman theme, dum, 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 dum. Like it's so cool. And then Paul Dano is one of my favorite actors. He's such a good character guy, but he's one of those rare character guys that is also a main character guy. And so there are very seldom guys that can be a character and a main character, they switch, and he's really good at that. And he plays the Riddler in a very different kind of way than anybody's played the Riddler
He's very
before.
creepy.
Very creepy.
It
Yeah.
just has a like just I don't know. I mean, maybe in real life he's a whole different thing, but he just looks. I mean, some people they just have a look and
It's a
they get
creepy look.
typecast.
Yeah. I have a couple more things to say. I know I'm like,
Yeah.
but like when I saw that in theaters, I was like, this is nuts. This is so cool. And they had the crime syndicate over here, and they had the Riddler over here, and they had the police and they had Batman over here. Like just all the elements of Batman were there. Like Batman was Batman, and it was so cool. When Batman was on screen, you're like, yes, it's Batman. But when he was off screen, you weren't like, all right, but where's Batman? Because in every movie I have found with Batman, I'm like, yes, there's Batman. All right, like when's Batman coming back? And that's like, and I think it's
except
such.
except when Heath Ledger was on the screen.
I agree. I
'Cause,
agree.
yeah, that was one of those
Yeah.
where it was like, you have like two people doing their peak kind of stuff, and for Heath it was maybe his peak. I don't know, whatever you want to call it. But like when Batman wasn't on the screen, Christian Bale, then you had like Heath doing something in some scene, and like he just sort of like drew you in. So there aren't many people that kind of like or actors or other characters that can like
Yeah.
compete when the main one isn't on.
Yeah, yeah. But that's on my list. Thoroughly love that film, and not only was it well received by critics and by people, but it was so good it sparked a spin-off, The Penguin, which is one of the greatest TV shows ever made, in my
Yeah.
opinion. It's so good.
So
And it's getting a sequel, so it's like, yeah.
So I'm not embarrassed by it because I watch movies like late at night. I've tried to watch the Batman like 3 times.
Have you fallen asleep every time?
I fell asleep every time because it's like I'm enjoying it and I'm liking the acting and the whole thing, but it is filmed so dark.
So dark.
It's
I
like you're
know.
watching a character wearing black in a cave with a flashlight,
Yep.
and I'm like 20, 30. I've probably watched like a solid 40 minutes of this film.
Also,
I
Andy
just keep falling
Serkis is
asleep.
awesome. Andy Serkis is awesome as Alfred. He's such a good
Oh yeah,
Alfred.
yeah, I watched enough to see him,
Yeah,
but I just kept falling asleep.
yeah. No, it's just. I mean, this cast, like Zoe Kravitz as Catwoman, Jeffrey Wright as James Gordon, John Turturro also amazing, Carmine Falcone, like that. Man, it's just such a good cast.
Yeah, Turturro has always been one of my favorite character actors for
So
sure.
good, so good.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right,
No.
what is next on your list? I
So I guess I have to do my
bludgeoned
number
that
four.
movie to death.
I guess I'll put it as a movie, a top four film. You could actually, with this is one of those that like you can argue that it's not a top four like superhero movie, but I think because of the lead actor, you could make an argument for it. So I have Guardians of the Galaxy as my number four
Okay.
because I feel that Chris Pratt in particular created one of the funniest, coolest superhero that's been done on screen. It's
Star
like
Lord, yeah.
Star-Lord, because he's like he something, and obviously he's done other films and the TV show and everything else, but like he's very successful in all these different things, Jurassic Park, whatever, Parks and Rec, but like his ability, because like there have been superheroes that have like a bit of humor here and there, but I don't know if there's been one that is so obviously funny, and then and it's like a
Well, he,
superhero that like tries to be a superhero, and he's only partially successful, and I
yeah.
like that he like keeps messing up and everyone is like letting him know.
And before Deadpool got introduced to the MCU, he is the only character that they ever let say the F word,
Yeah,
which
and
is perfect.
yeah.
Like it fits what you're talking about, where he just like so goofy.
Well, and that's the thing I have with Deadpool. It's like they go for the comedy, but it's so over the top, and it's obviously supposed to be that way, but like it's very hard to like find that perfect balance. And then I think
Yeah.
what makes the movie work so well is that you have the back and forth between these characters, between Zoe Saldana and Rocket and Dave
Dave
Batista,
Batista,
and
yeah.
like even the villains, even minor characters have little zingers that just work so well, and it's just like you almost never find like a complete cast that is so perfect. And I think for me, and obviously I like Vendetta and I like dark films like The Crow or whatever, but like every once in a while a film comes along and it's just a fun film. And for me, that bumps it up the ranking.
For
So,
sure. I'll never forget the first time I saw that movie. My dad and my brothers and I were in New Hampshire for one of our annual hiking trips, and we had a day where it was just going to be a rain out. So we decided to go see this new movie, Guardians of the Galaxy, at a local strip mall theater in the middle of New Hampshire. And we go in, we had the worst Chinese food we've ever had right before. And then we go in and we sit down and we laughed ourselves silly the whole time. We had such a delightful time. It was such a fun ride. And I think like John C. Riley's in that movie. Like people forget like Guardians of the Galaxy, man. Like the people forget like there's
isn't
like
Meryl Streep in
such
that too?
No, not Meryl Streep. Glenn Close.
Glenn Close. That's right. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Glenn Close is in that. They have such a cool like group of people. Benicio del Toro plays that creepy collector
The
guy.
collector. Yeah, yeah.
Just really cool. I think to piggyback off what you were saying about Chris Pratt and that role is that what makes that movie special is he takes a comic book character that already existed, but makes him the reason why people know that character. It's, you look at Tobey Maguire, you look at Andrew Garfield, you look at Tom, and they're all Spider-Man. But Spider-Man was Spider-Man before any of them were Spider-Man.
Right. Yeah.
And not to say that Star-Lord didn't exist, because there were thousands of comics with Star-Lord before Chris Pratt. But in the mind of the regular person that's not a comic book fan, Star-Lord exists because of Chris Pratt.
Yeah.
And that's why that movie is so good, because he takes a character and is that character. There's like, that guy's a good Batman. That guy's a good Spider-Man. There's a reason why, and maybe it's on your list later. It's not on mine, so I'm just throwing it out. But there's a reason why Iron Man is synonymous with Robert Downey Jr. Like,
Right.
that guy's Iron Man. And Chris Pratt did what Robert Downey Jr. did to Iron Man with a character that no one had ever heard of. Star-Lord is not a Spider-Man. Star-Lord is not a Superman.
Right. Yeah.
But everybody knows him, and that's because that movie is so awesome.
Yeah, yeah. No, I get why it might not be in everyone's like top 5 or whatever, but I get it. But again, when I was doing my list, it was more about like who the best superheroes rather than the movie. So I'm
Yeah.
sort of like mixing both. But
For
I would
sure.
still arguably put it in my top 5. You know, I would put him as a top 5 superhero just because of what I liked about his portrayal. But yeah, so it's well, what is your number 3 then?
So
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
three,
Yeah.
for three, I have uh, the wonderful from 2011, Captain America, the first Avenger, Chris Evans as Captain America.
Yeah.
It's so good. Like, there's so many good actors in that movie. I mean, Hugo Weaving as the Red Skull is so good. And they have such a good, like, back and forth. They have such a good battle. And Tommy Lee Jones, just like his army general character is just so Tommy Lee Jones. It's like, and then he has a back and forth with Stanley Tucci. Like, the two of them, they're trying to find this guy to be the super soldier, to be Captain America. And I don't know, they just like, he's the first Avenger. Like, Captain America was the Marvel world.
So
Like,
so weirdly enough, I have that as number 3 also.
let's go!
Right?
Yes! Awesome. Yeah, no. So give me your thoughts on it so I don't bludgeon all your points.
No, yeah. Well, the thing was like, because I felt like it's kind of like the Wonder Woman thing, because I actually really like period pieces if done well, and they did that so well.
So good.
And obviously Chris Evans was great. I actually wouldn't put him in my top 5 of superheroes, even though because he seems like he's perfect for the role.
Yeah, just a little
And it's
too
sort of
perfect.
like sometimes when you have a Pacino or a De Niro or somebody who like it just seems like is so natural for them. We tend to sometimes, well, not now, but like, well, really not ever, because they've been getting awards since the 1970s. But like they just make it look so natural that it's like, oh well, Chris Evans, like of course he's that, but like he had to play the role, you know. And then
Yeah.
to get back what you're saying, it was cast so well. The way they made him go from the scrawny guy to this like big buff, you know, Captain America, and then his sidekicks, and it's just a really well put together movie.
Yeah. Yeah. Man, they've sidekicks, just to throw one out there. Neil McDonough
Oh yeah.
is in that movie, and he's also in Band of Brothers. So
Band of Brothers.
but there's that, like, and I don't know if it was done on purpose because they know that he can play that kind of guy, but to me, because I've watched both, there was an added element of that guy's really a World War II soldier, because in my mind, I know him as another World War II soldier. So it adds a whole different element. Yeah, that movie is just so good, because not only is it a comic book movie, but it's also a World War II movie, and it's like a really cool mix of like fantasy and realism, and it's just so well done. Just so well done. I love that movie. What do you got for two?
Okay, so for two, so this is where it's like, the rubber's meeting the road at this point. It's like
Yeah.
and then like we're gonna talk about maybe if we wanted to talk about it, but like there are so many movies that like you could put them in a list somewhere and you couldn't be angry about it.
Yeah.
So my number two is actually the first Iron Man. And I have it as that because I feel like that was the first film. There's a lot of films we mentioned that come before that, of course, that aren't related to the Marvel universe or anything. But I think that was kind of to me, it was the seminal moment where you had like, it was written so well and filmed so perfectly. And I think Robert Downey Jr. is like, I have him as my number two in terms of the, superheroes also, just because he so embodied the role. And like I was gonna say, it's like the seminal moment where superhero movies, the genre, it was like they were legitimized, and it was like all of a sudden, all these actors who would poo-poo doing fantasy or sci-fi or superheroes or whatever horror, all of a sudden they were like, oh wait, if because I think it was the success of it more than anything, but also it like gave them an opportunity to like because we're all kids at heart to some degree, and like who wouldn't want to play like a superhero, or who wouldn't want to play like a guy wielding a sword or something cool, and like all of a sudden they're like, oh wait, and then that gave Marvel the opportunity, although I think they've botched it a little bit in recent years, but like it gave them the opportunity to go to other real actors and be like, yo, um like you can really act in these roles. You don't have to act like a superhero. You can act and also be a superhero. And Robert Downey Jr. really like paved the way for that. And then all of a sudden, you get all these like, serious actors all of a sudden want to be in these films because, it was, you know, it was a there's a secondary path for their career. They get a really nice paycheck, I'm sure. And then on top of that, they build a fan base, great, and then you get subsequent films, but then also you get a chance to really hone your chops and really see if you can do it. If you can like, can I pull off a really like weirdo character, whichever character it is that has a superpower, but bring some humanity and acting to it? And I think that was the first film that allowed all the rest of this to happen.
Sure. I love that. I love that. And I touched briefly on Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man a bit before.
Yeah. You said
I love
that was not in your top five?
it's not in my top five, but that's because I did it more so on the movie element of
Right. Yeah.
the
Yeah.
thing. And as a movie, I don't think Iron Man is better than the list that I have. But as a character,
Yeah.
totally,
I'm
totally.
thinking, yeah, I'm thinking because like I said, I'm sort of like doing this a little bit on the fly, but like as a movie itself, yeah, it's an origin movie, and so there's some elements that like I have one on here that it'll be like a the secondary list, but it definitely could have been like up
Yeah,
there also. So
for sure,
so
for
so
sure.
what was your number two?
So my number two, funny enough, is Spider-Man 2 from the Sam Raimi trilogy, 2004.
Okay, well, who is the villain in that? That's how it.
Molina's Doctor Octopus.
Doctor Octopus. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay.
For me, if going by rankings, for how you were kind of doing it with people who embody the character, I know we're talking about superheroes, but I'm gonna throw in that Alfred Molina embodies everything that Doctor Octopus is as a supervillain. I think he's one of the greatest supervillains of all time in movie form because the way it's written, it is so clearly a case of this guy is struggling with the fact that he wants to do something for the world and for himself, but it's taking over. And he's a bad guy, but his motives are so pure. And you're sitting there like, yes, I understand why Peter's having a struggle. This was a friend. This was a mentor. This was a guy that he was like working with. Now he's this like machine. He's
Yeah.
he's doing these things because he's trying to save humanity. And I think all the best villains are trying to save humanity.
Right. Yeah.
Like if you're doing it for your own reasons, I don't know. If you're doing it for the world, then you're more complex, in my opinion. And I think Spider-Man 2 by itself is like one of the greatest comic book movies of all time. It's almost perfect. I love it
I
so
haven't seen it
much.
in so long.
And there's one scene too. I think it's in Spider-Man 2. Hold up, let me see. As if it's not, I think it's in Spider-Man 2. Hold up. See,
Yeah, for me, I hadn't really thought about that one because it's been
yeah.
so long since I
There's
watched the originals.
there's one scene where Joey Diaz is in, and he's just perfectly Joey Diaz, and he's just like talking to Spider-Man, like, yeah,
Wait,
that's right, we got,
Joey Diaz, the comic, is in it?
yeah, yeah, yeah. There's a scene. There's a
I
scene. There's a
know that.
Yeah, there's a scene. Hold on, let me see if I can find it. We can pull it up here. Let me see if I can here, because I don't. Let me see here, because let's see if it'll allow me to play it.
Yeah, if it doesn't, we can always just chop it out.
Because it's such a great scene. Let me see if I can play this here. I gotta find this scene, and this will be a spot that I'll edit a little bit, but that's okay. Okay. And it's so great because it's just that, hey, it's Joey Diaz. But like that, not that moves my needle on a film, but there's so many perfect, like him being a New Yorker and the New Yorkers all being like, you know what? If you want to get to Spider-Man, you got to get through us. Like, that's such a New Yorker mentality. Like, no one messes with New York. Like, you just don't, like, we're a people. And they embodied that so well. I just think the struggle between Spider-Man and Dr. Ock is just so well written. Oh my gosh. Alfred Molina is just such a good actor. And in that movie, I just feel like he's the perfect role. There's like some roles that people are born to play, like Dr. Octopus, I think was the role for him. It was just so
Huh.
good, so good. But yeah, and then the movie score is just great. I don't know. I just love that film. For me, it might be a little bit of a nostalgia, but I've heard a lot of people put it on their list, so I feel a little validated with that. But yeah. What do you have for your next one? Or are we
I
up to
think
number
we're up
one
to
now?
number one, I think.
Ooh, okay. Now this could be cool.
All right. Well, I think you can go first.
Okay, sure. For my number one, I have Superman.
That's what I got.
Let's go! Yes. Hey, yo, we were 2 for 5. Which I think it'd be a very boring podcast if we were 5 for 5. But I think 2 for 5 is really cool.
Yeah. No,
Awesome.
it's like obviously Superman. Like it's just
Yes. It's
obvious.
not even a question. It's a no-brainer.
No, it's like
Because any Superman movie that's ever made, they're comparing him to Christopher
yeah,
Reeve.
it's Christopher Reeve, and then how can you do compared to him?
No one. That's
Yeah,
it.
yeah, because like, and what one of the reasons I love that film, and obviously it's an origin story, but like he embodies the character so well, and then he has like the best nemesis ever in Gene Hackman as Lex Luthor.
Hackman. So
You
good.
can't like we were just talking about like every villain. A lot of the best ones are like the ones that like they want to change the world for the good or whatever. He is not that way.
No.
He's like, I just want to like own more land, so I want to like break California off into the ocean.
And Ned Beatty is his sidekick.
Oh, that's right. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
Miss
Yeah.
Tessbacher.
Yes. Yes.
I had such a
So
crush
good.
on that lady when I was when I was a boy.
Man, that movie. And you know what else? We'll probably talk about this on our next episode because we're doing film scores. But the film score for Superman by John Williams
Yeah,
is so iconic that when they remake Superman movies, they use the theme for the new guy from the old guy. They don't do that with anything else.
well, it's funny. It's funny because like you mentioned John Williams and Superman score. So when I was doing some research for this, we're doing a podcast for those who are watching. We're doing a podcast on like movie scores coming up, and obviously John Williams is like the OG of everything. And I was thinking about this tonight. I'm like, I haven't even like Googled his whole filmography because it's like so gigantic that it's like I forgot that he scored Superman. Like
Yeah,
I didn't even
yeah.
go through the whole list of his stuff.
Yeah, yeah. But that bum ba 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 bum bum
Boom,
bum
boom,
bum
boom.
bum
But yeah,
ba 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 bum. Just like it's so iconic. Like if you think about Batman, Batman has had so many different themes over the years that every Batman movie has its own theme. Every Batman, there's no like, oh, this is themed from
like
this
a through
Batman.
line with the
No, there's no through line. There's no through line with Spider-Man. There's no through line with I mean, there's like Spider-Man.
yeah,
But like that, I'm not talking about that. But like it's such an iconic song. It's such an iconic, just the movie. I rewatched it right before the new Superman movie came
Oh
out
wow,
because
okay.
I wanted to watch that one and then watch this one. And man, it's just such a good movie.
I was actually recently doing some. I was, for those that don't know, I was injured in the spring quite a lot, and so when I usually do my spring cleaning, I couldn't do it this last spring. So I've been doing it a little bit off and on this summer. Anyway, I was going through some old movies that I had, and I forgot that I had like a copy of Superman on like Betamax. Yeah, so the thing's like old.
That's
Yeah. But
awesome.
anyway, I just happened to see that like yesterday. So
Yeah, that's so cool. Yeah, no, yeah, that's the definitive number one.
yeah.
I know a lot of people will watch this and be very annoyed if we don't bring up, and we kind of did, but neither of us honorable mentioned or had in our list any of the Nolan Batman movies.
Oh, so I do have more honorable mentions,
Okay. And
and so
I kind of wanted to explain why I don't have those in my list.
okay,
Because I
well,
do
you go
have
first,
them.
and then I'll provide the counterpoint because
Yeah.
I would have put I would have put one of Nolan's Batman. I would see.
Okay.
I kind of consider it a trilogy rather
Yeah,
than
for
like.
sure. Me
But anyway,
too.
you go ahead, and
Yeah.
I'll do the counterpoint.
So for me, I have them as an honorable mention, the whole trilogy, because they're kind of one movie
Yeah,
to me, a one movie, and you can't put one of them without, because for me, people are like, oh, The Dark Knight, the greatest, whatever. For me, The Dark Knight, I'm watching that movie for Heath Ledger, and when Batman's on the screen, I'm like, all right, cool, but where's the Joker? And and it's a Batman movie. That should not be how you feel when you watch a Batman movie. And I think the best Batman movie of that trilogy is the first one, Batman Begins. Because I'm not watching that movie going, when's Liam Neeson going to be on the screen? I'm watching that movie going, where's Batman? This is awesome. Batman is so cool. Same with the third one. I'm not
yeah.
watching that movie. When's Batman going to be on the screen? I'm like,
When's
where's
Bane coming
Bane?
back? Yeah,
Where's Bane? Like,
you got a Bane
Perhaps,
voice.
perhaps she's wondering why someone would shoot a man before throwing him out of a plane.
It's
even Commissioner Gordon is cooler than Batman in those movies.
yeah. Well, that's sort of my issue with Christian Bale is that he is inarguably super duper talented, but he can get into a role and sort of like be so reserved in the role that like he almost lets the other people shine. And it's I don't know, we'd have to talk about him in a different pod, I guess, with because he's done like so many different like things, but
Yes,
it's I feel that trilogy is probably the best trilogy of superhero films that has been done.
easily. But individually, they're
But
not.
individually, I would say that the middle movie, I think that is probably one of the best sequels of all time.
One of the best sequels, for sure. But, and I think, I mean,
The
the return,
pacing, the music, the atmosphere. I mean,
as far as a third film goes, The Dark Knight Rises is only second to Return to the King. I think it's the greatest third film ever made. I think it beats out Return to the Jedi.
all
Dark Knight
right,
Rises
all right.
and the
Well,
because
you're
Dark
out of
Knight
the will.
no. What's Mark Hamill do? That's not true. That's impossible. Like yeah, but yeah, no, because I'm a little biased because I saw that in theaters when I was younger. And so there is when I had watched that movie, I think that's when that deranged guy shot up the movie theater.
Yeah,
And
it was
and
during one
so
of those. Yeah, yeah.
and so that was
Colorado, I think.
recent. And I watched that movie in a theater in Wisconsin with my grandparents and my great grandmother, Oma. And it was the four of us. And because they had seen it and they were like, you got to see this movie. And I was like,
Well,
okay. So they took me, they went a second time because they loved it so much. And I went and I watched it. And the whole time, these ushers kept coming in to watch it, like through doors. But I was like, oh my gosh, someone's going to shoot this theater. Cause like, it's
yeah,
as sad as that is. But like, so my senses were heightened during that movie. So that movie's already very like, what is going to happen? Cause the whole point of
yeah.
that
It's
movie,
intense.
that whole movie is there's a bomb in Gotham that's going to go off and we don't know when or where.
Yeah.
And so like now watching that movie again, every time I still have that feeling of like,
Okay. Yeah.
So to me, that's why that movie is so high. But also, I just think it's a great movie. Like, I don't know. It's so fun. Like, Bane is so good. Such a great written character. It fits that world. Like, Bane as a character compared to the comics, terrible. Because it's not, like, Bane in the comics is this big hulking, like, Dave Bautista kind of. And then Bane in the movie is like, all right. But still, it's a realistic, like, Christopher Nolan went for realism in all three of those movies. And I think you could realistically see Heath Ledger's Joker anywhere because of the state of the mental health in this country and the
Oh
world.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, no. So
Well, yeah. So a lot of the things you're saying are what would be my counterpoint anyway, because it's like all of the secondary casting is just perfect.
so good.
Nolan just, he just doesn't make bad films. And well, maybe there's an outlier I'm not thinking of. I don't have IMDb with me or whatever,
No,
but
his worst movie is a great movie.
which one?
I think his worst movie comparatively, is probably I think it's a tie between Dunkirk and Tenet. And only because Tenet is too confusing for the average person and Dunkirk is too boring for the average person.
Well, that was my problem with Dunkirk. Like, and I love war films and that, but like I just turned it off after a while because I was like, it was just so boring. And there's just like, okay, you're on a beach and you're on a pier and you're looking at things and you're like looking into the distance, and I'm like, okay, it's supposed to be a war film.
But that's how good he is, that his worst movie is probably better than if you give me 10 movies. Well, not you, but like if the average person gives me 10 movies, it might be better than those 10 movies.
No, right. Yeah.
And one of the things, and honestly, we could probably do a video or a podcast where we just rank Nolan movies. So I'll kind of reserve, but one of the coolest things about Dunkirk, just to give it some props while it's up here, is that throughout the whole movie, the movie is synced up to the sound of a ticking clock.
Yeah.
To denote the time that they have to get off of this beach. And that is the coolest thing to me, that attention to detail, that every movement is synced up to this ticking clock.
Yeah. It just, it's sort of like there are certain directors, and we'll talk about this in other pods or whatever, that like when they some of their worst films are better than most directors' best films. So you have like you have like obviously if Spielberg is like that, you have like I'd put Peter Jackson up there with that. I'd put then my friend of my mind was what was his name? I lost it.
I put Kurosawa up there.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. De Palma, Ridley Scott is like he's up there, I think, with Spielberg in terms of like how many bad movies has he really made in terms of actual bad movies? It's you'd have to really study his filmography.
I did not see Napoleon, but I heard that was pretty bad.
I have heard, and we're gonna have to know this at a later date, that so much had to be cut out of his film that like his direct to theater films are very good to excellent usually, and
the director's cuts are always better.
Director's cuts are just like make everything.
The director's cut of Blade Runner is 30,000 times better than the original cut, and the original cut is still one of the greatest movies ever made.
Yeah. So that's just one of those examples
for sure. So
I want to list a few sort of for the secondary list that I have.
Yeah.
So again, I was doing it as like actors, so I'll kind of like couch it a little bit. But a couple that were left were I want to give Hugh Jackson a shout out for his portrayal of Wolverine. Mm-hmm. Like the dedication physically to it is absolutely astonishing. Because if you ever look up his YouTube videos of how he's doing his workouts and his diet and everything, it's just, and then he really, really, really embodied the character that was so famous on the comic books.
Not to mention people when he got cast were like, what is this casting? He's going to be terrible.
Yeah. And then the movie, like Wolverine, like with his, was that the
Logan?
What's that?
Logan. Movie Logan?
Like Logan. Yeah. Like that's just like, and it was an excellent film. And so that's like, I almost had that in my top 5 also, because it's just like the character embodiment mixed with just creating a great character. So it's sort of like you could say, I would say as just, now I'm just going just the acting part, not whether the movie was amazing or not, but like, Patrick Stewart as Professor Xavier. It's just like,
like synonymous with the character.
Yeah. Ian McKellen as Magneto was fantastic. So
Yeah.
there's a whole bunch that are like that. I think if I have one last, I thought I had.
While you're looking for it,
Yep. Go ahead.
one of my honorable mentions is Tim Burton, just for his Batman movies.
Oh yeah,
Both
for sure.
both Batman and Batman Returns.
Mm-hmm.
Batman Returns is awesome. You have Michelle Pfeiffer as Catwoman. You've got Danny DeVito as the Penguin.
It's a penguin. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you've got arguably one of the coolest side characters, Christopher Walken, just in a Batman movie.
That's right.
So
Yeah.
cool, so awesome. He plays Maxwell. I think his name is Maxwell. I'm not sure off the top of my head,
I haven't
but
seen that in decades.
yeah, it's a Christmas movie, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, honorable mention to those films because they are genre defining in a sense, because it was when people make Batman movies, they always go, okay, let's compare it to the Tim Burton movies.
Yeah.
But a
for
lot
sure.
of times people put the new ones ahead of Tim Burton. But it was so good that it is the standard. Like, you don't want to be worse than those, but you want to be better. And so it's not like Superman where that is the best.
That's
And if
standard.
somehow you're better,
Yeah.
you are amazing. But you'll always be compared to and up. But you want to be just as good as the Tim Burton Batman movies. And if you're just as good, you made a good Batman movie.
You're fine. Yeah.
So that honorable mention to the Tim Burton Batman movies.
Oh, and I'll throw a honorable mention.
Okay.
No, I don't even know if it can be ranked. I don't know, but we have to sort of give some flowers to Darkman with Liam Neeson,
Okay.
and
Okay.
I think it's a Sam Raimi sort of like deal, film, but like I'd have to rewatch it because I haven't watched it in so long.
I don't know if I've seen it. I'll have to watch it.
Yeah, but it's like Liam Neeson as like a sort of like hero, anti-hero. Like for the audience out there, it might be worth taking a look at it just because it's just an unusual superhero in terms of like, a guy who gets injured and now he has like some powers, but like
Brilliant
yeah.
scientist Left 4 Dead returns to exact revenge on the people who burned him alive. Ooh.
Just to have Liam Neeson being like the Taken character, but like as a anti-superhero.
For sure.
Sam Raimi, he's like, one of the like OGs of like, creating films out of like that you wouldn't think would be filmable,
Definitely.
So
Definitely.
yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
I was trying to think if there was any other honorable mentions that I had.
Okay, I do have an honorable mention though.
I have another one as well.
You have one too? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'll go and then you go and then
Yeah.
and again, I haven't watched this in forever, but when I want to say it was like 94-ish or something, when the movie came out, Dick Tracy. I don't know if you've seen it.
No, but I've heard of it.
It won awards, and it was who was it starring?
Warren Beatty.
Warren Beatty, and I think De Niro was in it, and a few other ones. And so
Pacino.
it was so very stylistic because that's based on the comic book from like decades and decades and decades ago, and they just had a great cast and like the colors and the atmosphere. It was just really, really well done. And it was trying to be like a, what do you call it? Like a it wanted to have the sort of look from whatever it was, the 1930s, I guess, and they really pulled it off.
Producer of that film, by the way, Elfman, who did the Batman movies.
Yeah, that's right.
So, shout out Danny Elfman, really good composer who might make his way on the list tomorrow or the next day whenever we film this. But yeah, my last honorable mention, we didn't mention TV at all. And there are...
just to qualify myself, I haven't watched a lot of the modern spin-off TV shows based on the comic.
Yeah. But I grew up watching the channel. CW has had just an amazing run of DC characters and DC comic books. They had the show Arrow for a while about the Green Arrow. Really well done, really fun, really good. And they also had this show called The Flash, and it was about The Flash. And Grant Gustin is rumored, and I don't know if it'll actually happen, but I hope it does, is rumored to be coming back as The Flash in James Gunn's DCU. So for him to go from the show playing The Flash to be so well liked and so observing of the character that they bring him into the movies, which James Gunn is really trying to build this whole thing. It would be really cool. But shout out Grant Gustin. The Flash is such a good show. Mainly seasons 1 through 3. The rest are kind of but Grant Gustin is awesome. So yeah, shout out. Do you have a couple that you hate? Do you have a couple? Do you have a couple that either you were looking forward to them and they sucked, or you knew they were going to be bad?
Okay, so we weren't planning on doing this, so I didn't like go down the rabbit hole of stuff I hate, which is a lot of stuff in life. But if I remember right, Spawn was
Yeah,
terrible.
terrible.
Terrible. I didn't even absorb enough of its terribleness to talk much about it. But I just remember going, this is just like the CGI was terrible, like the acting was terrible, the casting maybe was like terrible too. It was like, oh, it was terrible.
Yeah, it's pretty rough. I'll give you another one.
Electra.
Electra, yeah, awful. It's a spin-off, but awful.
Yeah.
There's Howard the Duck. Terrible. Terrible.
Surprised that was actually a comic book.
Yeah.
Like I thought that was just
Yeah.
a weird like one-up, but it was actually someone turned that into a comic book.
They've since given Howard the Duck fun little cameos in the Guardians movies.
I have seen
and I
that.
love that. But the movie, terrible. Terrifying too. If you watch it, it's actually kind of scary because the ducks look like mascots and they're just creepy looking. Any Fantastic Four movie that's ever been made. The new one, I did enjoy the new one. Pedro Pascal was good. The cast of characters was good. I liked the new one. So aside from that one, but that was not great. I didn't think it was amazing, but I liked it.
I didn't mind whatever the movie was called with those when Jessica Alba was running around in like a leotard or whatever. It was like,
well,
that's not super bad.
No, but when the best part of your movie is how hot your main actress is, you probably don't have a good movie.
Yeah. Well, that took it from a 1 to a 3.
That's fair. That's fair. It got 5 IMDb stars when it would have had 0.
Yeah. Yeah. She's the reason it got those stars. Yeah.
And then I had what was it? They have since remade it, and the remake is fantastic. Unfortunately, the original has Judge Dredd with Sylvester Stallone. Stop! In the name of the Lord! Like, what? The writing is, and I think he wrote it too, which makes it even worse. But like, when your catchphrase is "Stop in the name of the Lord," like that's not.
Well, you know what's crazy is that like, and we'll do a pod on him at some point as Stallone, but he had and he has had whatever you want to call it, but like he had such a run of generally considered for whatever genre he was actually doing it in, mostly action, but like just success after success after success. But then like he's done so many films that obviously we can find a few here and there that like just were complete bombs, and that was one of the ones that just did not work. You know?
Yeah, just not the greatest. Excuse me, not the greatest. Do you have anything else to say about the superhero genre, about a movie specifically, or the topic?
Not really. I think I've tapped out my whole.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I could talk more about actors and stuff, but yeah. No, I'm good.
Cool. Yeah. Well, before we get out of here, before we close this episode, we want to kind of bookend our episode with something similar to how we started the episode, with something we just watched, and close it with something we're excited to watch next. Whether that means it's coming out in the future or it's already been out and we've been either too slow or too stubborn to watch it, something you're excited to watch. I started off first at the beginning of the pod, so why don't you start off?
2 things came to mind, because I'll just do 2 because it's already a long podcast. But I'm definitely looking forward to watching the new season of Tulsa King, and I know you are too.
Yeah.
It just looks, it's so been good. So great. There's just enough of taking themselves not too seriously, which has been great, because then you get a little bit of action, you get a little bit of comedy, a little bit of romance, a little bit of whatever, and then that series has just worked so well. And I think the first episode had just dropped, and it'll go forward. And then the second one that I'm looking forward to seeing, I think it comes out maybe in a couple of months, is the new season of Landman.
Oh yeah, man, Paramount just has such good shows.
Yeah, and there's no rumor to this or anything, but I would love I had a guy in mind, and I forgot the name, I forgot who it was, but there's 2 people I hope will show up in Landman at some point. One is we just mentioned him. Shoot, no, I'm forgetting both.
What is he in?
Oh no, well you do yours and I'll see if it comes to mind because like I've had to remember so many different names and movies that I've just like my whole brain's like fried.
Okay. I am super excited for the new Star Wars movie that's coming out in the next, I think it comes out not next year, but the year after.
So you're
I
looking
want to
forward to a movie
say.
that comes out in 2 years?
I am, because the cast list got released.
Oh, what is the movie?
I'm looking it up right now. Cut some of this. That's
Well, I hope who shows up in Landman is Christopher Walken.
That'd be so cool.
And then there's another guy too, but like he slipped my mind. Well, I don't know if it doesn't matter to the audience.
Okay, so it's directed by Sean Levy, um, and it's called The Starfighter. If you don't know Sean Levy did the Deadpool movies, and he's been a producer on a bunch of things. He produced Arrival, but it's called Starfighter, and it stars Ryan Gosling, and it's going to be just like a complete. There's no reference to any Star Wars except for like that it's in the world, so it's not like. It's not a continuation of a story, There's no characters that I mean, maybe they'll probably have species that and planets, but like it's not
Who else is in it?
right now they have Matt Smith attached to it, which got me excited just because he's gonna be playing the villain, I think, which is really cool. And then there's a girl who's gotten famous as of late. Her name is Mia Goth. She's been in a bunch of horror movies lately, but she's fantastic. I just saw the cast list and it just got me excited for more Star Wars projects because I love Star Wars. But Starfighter, I think that comes out. I think they start filming it this year and it comes out the following. Like,
I'm a little. I'm not a super fan of Gosling. I used to really enjoy his work, and then I think he got sort of overhyped, and he liked to start showing his abs, and everyone was just like, okay, like why don't you get back to the acting and stop being.
I did really enjoy him in Blade Runner 2042, though. That was
No, I
so
did
good.
too,
Yeah,
which is where it's like I know he when he wants to be, he can be
he'd
a
be a
very good
very good
actor,
actor.
or he could be a caricature of himself.
Yeah, no, for sure, for sure.
So we'll see how it goes.
And then I'm also looking forward to, the new episode because I've already started it. Of it's a spin-off of the Terminal List, and it's called Dark Wolf.
I just read about that yesterday. I didn't know there was a spinoff.
Yeah. And the first
With
three episodes.
starring, is it Taylor Kurt?
Taylor Kitsch.
That's it.
Yeah. And Chris Pratt's also in there too, but he's more of a minor role because it's more on Taylor. But the first three episodes were awesome. And so I'm so excited for it. And then also the continuation of Alien Earth because I've really been enjoying that. I liked it. The last episode was awesome. So just.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like I mentioned to you offline or whatever, just I was watching little snippets here and there because I didn't catch the first episode, so I have to go back and start there. But like, it just was like, everybody is like, it seems like everyone's a teenager and they all have like noodle arms, and I'm like, how does anyone fight an alien if they never hit the gym? Like, anyway,
Yeah.
that was just a blip of what I saw, and it probably isn't representative, but whatever.
No,
I'm gonna
that is
start it
super funny.
once there's like 4 or 5 episodes, I'll get into it.
4 out now, I think, or
Oh, is there
5
4 now? Oh,
actually.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you should start it. I'm enjoying it a lot. And I'd
Yeah.
like to discuss it because there's definitely things I like and things I don't like. But like overall, I'm enjoying it. Like there's things that I'm like, all right, I don't like this. But like, I don't know, it's kind of like it's like I don't know, it's like when you have and this is the thing when you make such good, like Alien is such a good movie. When you have something that's the best, when you make sequels or spin-offs, they're not going to be the best, but they're
Right,
still
yeah.
fun because you enjoy that world. You enjoy that stuff.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
yeah. Cool. Well, this has been an episode of the Great Movie Pod. I'm excited. I think our next episode is going to be talking about film scores and composers for film. So that's pretty awesome. I'm excited about that. Anything you have to say before we get out of here?
No, and in fact, because like I had said earlier, like I've already started doing all the research for the film scores, and for me, that's a huge part of film that it's probably talked about less than it should be, and so I'm really stoked to really get into that one. So
Awesome. All right. Bye, everybody.
all right,